Objectively, that was an interesting, compelling basketball game that the Timberwolves lost by 1 point at home to the Utah Jazz. But as someone that has any awareness of the Timberwolves offseason centered around their trade to acquire Rudy Gobert with the Utah Jazz, you have to feel just disgusting and sick watching that game. As we get to see what some of the pieces that we gave up to get Gobert do in that game. Don't see a lot from Gobert, which has been the case the entire season. It's not his fault this time. He plays 5 minutes and then has to leave with groin injury, does not return. That was bothering him our last game as well, where he only played 13 minutes. Rudy has not been very good for us. You see some flashes of what he used to be, but he would have had to play at an unreal MVP-like level for him to be worth what we traded for him. And that claim just gets even further validated today as we see kind of an afterthought for a lot of people in that Gobert trade, our first-round pick of the season, of Walker Kessler, who is 4th in the NBA in blocks per game with significantly less minutes than basically everyone, and especially Gobert, who is 14th. He puts up the numbers you would be raising your eyebrows at from peak Rudy Gobert of Utah, as he puts up a 2020 game along with 4 assists, 2 blocks. He was incredible. He was clutch. A lot of elements impressed me in his game. One of his blocks was on a sky hook. Who does that? He was very smart in short roll situations, making the pass right after the pick and roll, finding open shooters. Great in that element. Boxing out players to give his guards wide open layups, being a monster on the offensive boards. That was an extremely impressive game out of Walker Kessler, who was about a 10th of what we really gave up for Rudy Gobert. And he put up what Gobert used to and what we were trying to get, and not what Gobert has been. Additionally, you see Jared Vanderbilt, another piece of that trade, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Yeah. Even Malik Beasley, who struggled tonight and will have off nights along with his explosive ones, hits the biggest 3 probably of the Primlo, I guess. It was not a night game. But he hadn't made one up to that point, and I kind of knew he was due to just put the dagger into us, and he sure did. Although the Wolves would have a chance to win that game still, and it was close towards the end. We are absolutely cursed by Connelly, happened immediately in his tenure. And so that's like the overarching lens that you can view this game through. Not an enjoyable one, but a realistic one of what's actually happening with this franchise and what that decision was for us. To talk about the game, it was a bizarre one. Extremely 3-point heavy, especially compared to what the Wolves had played lately. In their last couple games, the Wolves shot 28 threes both games, and then the Suns shot 23, the Cavs shot 28. And then in this one, they reached like the 3-point attempt totals basically in the first half, both teams. Cavs were 6 of 23 in the first half, while the Wolves were 10 of 21. We shot the ball very well tonight. Another thing we did that we don't normally do is we took extremely good care of the ball. We had 13 less turnovers than the Utah Jazz, while shooting 44% from 3. Let me double check that. Yes, that's correct. So we shoot the ball crazy well. We barely turn it over at all, and we still pick up the loss there. A big part of that is that we really could not get a stop, especially in the second half, as the Jazz started to attack the rim a lot more. Colin Sexton was dominant getting into the paint. Of course, Walker Kessler has his big night cleaning up down there. For something we've been talking about all season and basically his entire career, Jaden McDaniels, 5 fouls tonight. Playtime severely limited due to that. Many of them picked up on Jordan Clarkson, who was good at just kind of frustrating him. Had 3 going into half, picks up 1 about 2 minutes into the second half, and then he picks up an offensive foul about 2 more minutes into his playtime when he finally gets back in. Additionally, picked up a technical foul over that time, which the Wolves would get 3 technical fouls called on them to the Jazz's 0, because they're complaining to the Sucks all night. Happens very regularly. Culprits tonight, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Taurean Prince. Historically, I feel like Jaden and Anthony Edwards are officiated extremely poorly, which is true, again, especially with Ant. For someone that gets contact on almost every single drive, he shouldn't be getting 5 free throws. If he has a different name on his jersey, such as Harden, Morant, young. Like, he's probably getting 15 in that game. But that's just an issue that has always been there, and I don't think it's going to go away the more he yells at them and picks up technical fouls, which he does constantly at this point. Overall, I liked Anthony Edwards' mentality, though. He was shooting the ball very poorly early on in this game, but never really gave up. He was very determined in the second half to kind of pick things up, and he did do that. While on the other side, D'Angelo Russell was shooting the ball amazingly to start the game and had 17 first half points, then just kind of through the rest of that one with just 4 points in the second half, although he would get our last bucket to tie up the game 125-125 with 13 seconds left. Other things worth mentioning, Kyle Anderson got his first triple-double as a Timberwolf. Jalen Noel, yet again off the bench, was really good. Started making some threes in this game. Still not really what I want him doing. I didn't even like the ones he took, really. I thought Nate Knight was really good in his minutes yet again, and Garza looked decent at least. He wasn't shooting the ball too well. However, I thought his confidence was still good and liked the way he played. Just missed some shots that I feel like were very makeable for him. Had yet another good Taurean Prince shooting night, and Austin Rivers was fairly solid off the bench. Towards the end of that game, he was very involved on defense against Jordan Clarkson, and he had a couple possessions where he really stepped up, played good defense, also drilled a three to get us within 2 with just a couple seconds left. Or check that, I think it was maybe like 40 seconds left. However, he would get a foul called on him as Clarkson kind of stumbles at the end of that game, and that is how the Jazz got their 1-point lead as Clarkson went 1 of 2. Final play with 3 seconds left. The Wolves get the ball to Ant. He drives, kicks it out to Jaden for a wide open 3. Jaden misses that one, had one of his worst games of the season maybe. For as incredible of a player as Jaden is, he does have to mature still for sure. Still have a ton of belief in him. He's very young. He's going to get better. But I've also been in the situation of thinking, oh, they'll stop the really stupid offensive, unnecessary fouls because they're the most important player on our team. But then there's Karl Anthony Towns in like year 8. Sorry for the ricochet when you haven't played in 24 games. But yeah, sometimes the issues don't go away. So, let's address them and fix them, please. We really want Jaden on the floor, and it hurts, especially in games you lose by 1. There's just so many small issues that gotta be cleaned up, and it really hurts when the margin of error is slashed and destroyed by your fucking sleeper who trades away everything. All right, let's end on that. Back under 500.